This is Gladio Mori. It's a physics-based medieval combat simulator. Think something like Half Sword, except it plays a little bit different. First, it's very move-based. Every single weapon in the game has a specific set of moves, and you control these by direct inputs. So it's a little bit easier for someone to pick up and control and understand what's going on than something like Half Sword. The real thing about this game is it has two very unique elements to it. First off, it gives you a very in-depth animation design system where you can come up with your own weapon move sets, and people can get super creative and make things from actual Hema fighting styles to fighting styles based on your favorite video game or movie characters. The game also is the first physics-based online sword fighting game, to my knowledge, that has online gameplay where you can play with a few friends in a free-for-all melee. It's over on Steam. It just released in early access, and we have the developers on the podcast today. So enjoy the cast, guys, and if you do, be sure to subscribe. Welcome to Knights of the Square Tablet. We are here for a special episode as we have another game developer on. We're here with the Legatus from Gladio Mori, brand new physics-based game. What's going on, gentlemen?
How's it going?
How's it going?
Of course, you guys know we got Scotty Games down there below on the Path of Exile 2 grind. But we're super excited about these type of episodes because we love getting game developers on to talk about games with us because we're also passionate about medieval melee combat. So Gladio Mori just came out on Steam. Legatus, can you tell us just a little bit for the people who haven't heard of it? What is the game?
Well, it's a physics-based fighting game where you fight with weapons, swords, and well-bladed weapons mostly. And it has a organ-based damage system, which I think is one of the coolest things about it. So when you get hit, depending on where you get hit, either you lose your mobility in your limbs, or you get hit in the head and it's over.
Yeah, I saw that. I played a bit of it, and it's pretty impressive how when you get nicked in the leg, your character will start limping, and it's like a little bit better than something like Half Sword, I think, with how the character kind of reacts to getting hit in those locations. I thought that was really cool. Is it going to be mainly just sort of like this simulation kind of game for the moment?
Yeah, my idea is to keep it simple, and there isn't going to be massive graphics updates in that sense. I like the simple characters, and like when the blood is drawn on them, like a white character and red blood. I like the
It seems like the physics-based combat games seem to be growing in popularity. How did you get the idea to make Gladio Mori?
well. One of the biggest inspirations for the game is Tori Bash, which also affects the look of the game. So I played Tori Bash, and I thought that how cool would it be if it was real time or slowed time instead of turn-based. And then there are obviously other inspirations for the game. So Die by the Sword, for example, is where I got the idea of it being like an arena with a character from third person. And
Did you ever play are you inspired by other like hack and slashers? Were you a Shiv 1 fan or Mordhau or anything
I
like
have
that?
played Chivalry back when it was a mod for Half-Life. Haven't played the newer ones, but I love like Mountain Blade is a game that I have hundreds of hours in, and what else? Exanima, I've played tons of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's still on my list to play. I've played a lot of Half Sword recently, but Exanima's on there. Played a ton of Mountain Blade too. So when I played this when I played Gladio Mori for the first time, what I noticed is a lot of like Exanima and Half Sword and Kinstrife was coming out. Everything is mouse control. It seems you went with direct kind of inputs in Gladio Mori. What was the reason for that? Because I know I have my feelings on on that. I like that idea.
Yeah, well, first of all, when I had the idea for the game, that idea did not even occur to me that you would use mouse to point towards where you want the sword to go. Instead, I had this idea for the move editor so that you can uh, edit your own moves from games like Fight Night, like boxing game, where you could make your own character and you could select what types of punches you wanted to have and so on, which was really cool. But it was limited to selecting which punch you want. Couldn't like entirely edit your moveset. So I thought that might be cool to give people that option.
And is that's going to be a big focus on the game? Is that everyone, the community, can create all of their own combat sets, right?
Yeah, that's a big part, and people are sharing their movesets in the Discord server and doing crazy stuff with it.
What I liked about the having the different move sets and the direct inputs was I know I play a lot of half sword, and if you watch any clips of those mouse controlled games online, they can look really rough, especially when new people are playing them. And I think a lot of people are never able to pick them up. And what I liked about this, I feel like people could pick this up and then still enjoy the physics based combat games while not having it being as wonky as when your mouse is flying everywhere. So I thought this was a system that could maybe work in a more AAA type game too if they ever added physics based combat. So I thought that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it almost looks like a first steps into like a more advanced combat system. The more I see a lot of these physics-based games come out, I feel like it's one of the hardest type of game to like make, especially like for PvP combat. I think Exanima has done like a really good job in terms of like PvE and like adventure, but um, I kind of like the direction of this. It could almost be applied to like, um, you know, other games. Like, are there plans to like take it to the next level, or is it for now? Are you just focused on like getting these cool move sets down, making a cool experience, cool little fighting experience? What are the plans?
Yeah, it's gonna stay as a simple arena fighter. I'm one guy, so I don't have.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not going to be a massive RPG or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh,
So is the gameplay loop always going to be? Is there going to be any sort of like gladiator theme? I know it's called Gladio Mori, or is there going to be any sort of like end goals to it, or is it just going to be a combat simulation?
It's gonna be combat simulation, but um, we are going to improve the single player experience. So there is going to be progression there.
Nice. Now, I know Scotty did mention the online experience. This is the first physics-based game, as far as I'm aware, that does have an online experience. Is that going to be like a core focus for you guys, or is it just something that we're going to have kind of there if people want to use it?
Well, that is the core focus. Yeah, absolutely. Goofing around with your friends in a game like this is, I think, really fun. You can do whatever you want in a friend group, so you can have very realistic fights using historical movesets, or like some people in the game's Discord are doing, you can do jousting where one person is the mount and another is the rider, and you fight like that. So you can do goofy stuff or you can do cool stuff.
Nice. Now, is it going to be something that's possible for you to balance the online play for it, or is it just with the physics base, it just kind of going to be what people make and let them have their fun and
Well,
regulate
there is
themselves?
always going to be some level of, well, people will break things absolutely, and already have, but it's in early access, and I do have fairly well, I'm fairly confident that I can fix most things like that. Well, I enjoy seeing all the cool taunts that people make. So like there are people spinning their spears around or dancing and stuff like that.
Oh, people made like a flourish
Yeah,
animation,
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
Those are always fun to see. Or copying like boss moves from other games, like you join a server and there is a guy making Elden Ring boss moves before the fight. You know that that guy has put a few hours on his moveset.
I know it seems one of the key features is the Moveset Editor. Um, is that going to be something that you're going to have some like tutorials and stuff for people who want to get involved in doing it and want to make their own moves? Is there going to be any way that you guys streamline that for people who aren't necessarily experienced in animation, or are you going to have to kind of know
Yeah,
what you're
we'll
doing?
we'll absolutely try and make it easier. There is like a text tutorial at the moment, which, well, obviously reading text is not the easiest way, but people have already made YouTube videos for it, and it's fairly simple. Like you watch a tutorial, and you. My recommendation is that you copy an existing moveset, and preferably one for a single-handed weapon, and you just try to make one slash with it, like one move, and you manage that, and the world opens to you after that.
What would you say is the best move set you've seen someone make so far? If you had to pick
So
one.
far, hmm.
That's not a taunt.
um, I have to go with one of the community movesets that is already in the game. Jesus arming swords. He managed to make a throw for the swords that is just so cool and effective that it's amazing.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what can we expect to see from the game moving forward over the next year? You guys just released an early access, so now obviously we're going to be trying to get to completion in the next year or so. What are we going to see in the next year?
Well, the most requested features that I'll be working on are dismemberment and blunt damage, which is not yet in the game.
So I'm assuming then with blunt damage, we're going to get some new weapons too, right? I'm trying to remember in my head. I think I've mostly played
Yeah, yeah.
swords.
At the moment, all weapons are like bladed weapons, so axes and swords and stuff like that. And there will be more of those as well.
Are we going to see then more armors for the blunt weapons to be effective again?
Uh, Probably, yeah. I have some ideas, but the armor I'm not going to add like absolutely full coverage armor. There needs to be gaps for the swords to go through, and the idea also is that you use the armor to kind of balance the weapon's reach, basically. So if one guy has a dagger and the other has a sword, then the dagger guy gets to equip a few more pieces of armor. Actually, the way the armor works in the game is also, I think, fairly unique in the sense that it actually stops weapons entirely. So you can't strike
Yeah,
through the armor or break it.
yeah, no, I did notice that. I also noticed the longer weapons are extremely strong when I played the halberds and the spears and all
They
that.
absolutely are, right up till the dagger guy gets close, and then you are in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely noticed when I went halberd, I was able to really murk people from range. Now, right now, I believe there are two maps in the game. Or is that going to be something that you guys are going to add as they continue? Or is the community going to be able to design some stuff? Like, what's going to go on with the arenas and
Yeah,
stuff?
there will be more arenas. I'm
Will there be like traps and stuff in the arenas or?
uh, traps. We'll see. There definitely will be hazards like
Yeah.
lava or stuff like that. Yeah.
Something I want to get to is like in Half Sword. I don't know if you've played it, but I don't know if you can compare them or not, but basically what you can do a lot in half sword is just kind of wiggle your weapon around like this really fast and kind of spaghettify your opponent.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, like, what sort of what sort of game mechanics or like precautions are there in place for crazy move sets that could potentially break your game? Is there like limitation to swing speed? Is the damage calculated via real physics with acceleration and things like that? Is there
Yeah, so there is a bunch of stuff. The characters do have bones, and breaking those is up to the relative velocity between the weapon and the bone. So making very small movements isn't going to cut it. On top of that, there are limits to the character's abilities, the physics. So when you make a move, you animate it, and then the physical character tries to perform that animation to the best of its abilities. So it might not be able to, like, your move is so fast that the actual physical character barely moves. And for moves where you are holding your sword like straight and running at your opponent, that seems to be a fairly effective strategy when people are playing at 1.0 speed. But the game is designed to be played at like half speed or 0.25 speed. That's the way I mostly play the game. At those speeds, when someone is running at you with their sword out, it's like easy pickings. You just brush it aside and it's your turn to attack.
Okay,
so
so
it's almost like
I was gonna, yeah, I was interested in what speed because I know it defaulted on 0.25 speed. What
for me
was
it
the
defaulted
intended
on
speed?
0.5, I think.
It
Okay,
So
maybe that's what
in
it
the
is.
demo it was
yeah.
0.25, but I changed it to 0.5. Yeah.
That's why, yeah. Okay, yeah. I preferred 1.0
Yeah. It's
personally, but I did notice a lot harder to block on
yeah.
1.0.
I don't know how people block at all because once again there is no telegraphed moves. Like they are compact and fast attacks that you can make. But at 0.25 you have all the time in the world to decide how you want to react to what your opponent does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there, it's supposed to be a little bit more of a slower, calculated duel then.
almost like turn-based a little bit
Well,
almost, but
it's how you take it, and I mean, my idea is to give people as much freedom to play the game how they want. So people who prefer 1.0 play it at that speed, and people who like to take their time and play it slower.
Biggest shocker, I was on the 1.0 speed.
I kind of liked. I was digging the 0.5 a little bit, but I turned it up later. I managed to 1v2. I used longsword, of course. I 1v2 to two Bardish wielding NPCs, and yeah, I felt like 0.5 for the first little bit helped me figure it out, and then I was like, oh, maybe they want me to like keep it at 0.5 to like learn and then turn it up. But it's funny that you prefer the game on such a low speed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's such a different game depending on the time scale, and when you play it at the slow time scale, you also like get so many ideas for moves. Like you are in a
Yeah.
bind, and you just wish that you had like a move that slightly moves your sword in a different direction, and so on. That's the fun
Mm-hmm.
part. Then you go to the move editor and work on it for 2 hours
Oh,
and so on.
Mm-hmm.
well, while we're speaking of that stuff, is there ever going to be an option to add more bots or like different modes, like free for all and stuff? I pretty much mostly played 3v1, but I would love to have the option for it to be like 10 people in a random arena or just like 5 you like keep going? Is that a possibility?
Well, people have already modded the game, and they are running servers with 16 people. So at least there, that is an option. We'll see. We'll see what brings us.
Yeah. Is there gonna be like easy? Is it gonna be easy? It seems you have a lot of community input. Is modding gonna be a thing that's gonna be very common for the game? Like the community is gonna carry a lot of that.
Uh, yeah, we have a great community. People are uh, adding weapons and all kinds of stuff to the game.
Cool.
No,
Is there a way? Is it just through like Discord? People get more involved, or
This,
is that
yeah,
probably
Discord is the best place to find all that stuff.
cool?
Awesome. And now, as we start to close out, again, the page is over. It's Gladio Mori. It's over on Steam. It just released in early access. So it's been out for what, like 3 weeks, I would say.
Yeah, bit under 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's a game that me and Scotty have both had some time to play with, and it's another entry into this physics-based genre. So it's definitely worth everyone checking out. Let's call it here. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us, Legatus and Scotty. As always, we'll be in touch in a few weeks. But we appreciate you coming on, and yeah, we'll put the links down in the description below for the Discord and for Gladio Mori over on Steam. All right, guys.